What's up, Spartans? Batman from TST Gaming here, keeping you updated with everything Halo. And today we are going over the results and recapping HCS World Championship 2022. If I had one word to describe this event, was bananas. It was insane. You had twists, you had turns, upset after upset, and a lot of the unexpected came out. Some teams did really well that you didn't expect to, and some other teams didn't do as well that you would expect to. It was definitely an event worth watching, and if you didn't watch it, or if you did, you want to just hear more about it, stay tuned. But before we get started, please subscribe for more Halo content.
TST Gaming, your destination for all things Halo.
So all the events of the last year have been leading up to this tournament. So we had 16 teams from all around the world competing for the title of World Champions. In 13th through 16th place, we had Complexity Gaming, Team War, TSS Esports, and Navi. Now, Navi I thought actually was doing really well in the games that I saw. Those four teams did go home with $5,000. Through 9th through 12th place, Gamers First, G2 Esports, J-Lings Esports, and Ascend, and they took home $10,000. In 7th through 8th place, taking home $25,000 each, team was Fnatic and E United, which I thought was a really big surprise to see them so far down in placement. In 5th through 6th place, we had Sentinels, who I was rooting for, and Oxygen Esports, which I was surprised to see them as high up as they were, and they took home $45,000. In 4th place, we had FaZe Clan, which to me is not much of a surprise given that they have Renegade and now they added Spartan from the previous E United roster, and they took home $45,000. And a very, very surprising 3rd place, a team that I didn't think would make it into the top half, is Native Red. This was the talk of the entire weekend. People were calling it things like David and Goliath story or the Cinderella story, because they're upsetting big teams who you wouldn't expect for them to. For example, in the championship bracket, they beat Cloud9 3-2. Then going to the next round of the tournament, they beat FaZe 3-2. Now, their run did end when they got to Optic Gaming, who shut them out at 3-0, and then they had a rematch with Cloud9, and C9 beat them with a sweep. And Native Red, being a relatively newer team coming from the Kansas City Pioneers, going home with 3rd place and a $110,000 prize pool in the World Championship, has a lot of people talking about the future of this team. I was rooting for them as soon as I heard that they had beaten Cloud9. Which leads us to our 2nd place, taking home $220,000, is Cloud9. Now, Cloud9 I was really shocked to hear that they lost so early on, especially to a newer team like Native Red. But they did get their groove back, and they ended up coming back and playing fairly strong. Once they beat Native Red the second time around, they had the grand finals, which was between Optic Gaming and Cloud9, which was crazy because Optic only had one game that they won in the grand final. Cloud9 had 4 in a row. So the fact that Cloud9 was able to dominate Optic Gaming, who at that point had only lost one game, not series, game, and that actually was to Native Red earlier in the tournament. But because Optic Gaming wasn't in the elimination bracket, they had a grand final reset, and this time Optic Gaming showed up and greenwalled them, which is partially why they're known for that name, because they're known for just stonewalling opponents and not letting them get even a single game. Which leads me to say that in 1st place, Optic Gaming wins against Cloud9 4-0 in the grand final reset, taking home not just the title of champions, but also 1st place prize pool of $400,000. To think that $1 million was given out in prize pool money was insane when there's just 16 teams that we were talking about here. I was fortunate enough to actually be able to watch quite a bit this weekend. That's pretty much all I did, was watch HCS when it was on, because it was just so good. And like I said, some of the upsets, the fact that Native Red did so well going up to the winners finals, and then Cloud9, once they got beat in that first round, having to fight their way through E United and Sentinels and FaZe Clan and then Native Red again, and Optic Gaming. I mean, they literally faced every good team. In my opinion, of the top 5 teams are, and not in any particular order, Optic Gaming, Cloud9, Sentinels, E-United, and FaZe Clan. And that's actually probably in order, I would say, if I had to pick based off of skill. Like I said, I was rooting for Sentinels while they were still in the tournament, but unfortunately, they were beaten by Optic Gaming and then taken out of the tournament by C9. So it's like, if you're going to lose, at least you're losing against the top 2 teams in the world. So I still couldn't believe it. Even better is in the final match of the grand final reset between Optic Gaming and Cloud9. It was an objective mode on Streets, and the timer had hit 0, and Cloud9 stood up cheering that they had won, and then it turned out someone from Cloud9 had actually stepped just inside the hill, so it paused the timer. And so they all had to sit down very quickly and then get them out of the hill, and then they could win. But it was such a great event, and it made me wish I was there. There was a lot of other cool things going on. You had voice actors there from the franchise, specifically Master Chief himself was there, Steve Downs, as well as his sidekick Cortana, played by Jen Taylor, were both there in attendance, as well as Joseph Staten, some other members of 343 Industries, even Marty O'Donnell was there, who had created the original music. They also had a costume contest, they had an FFA tournament going on at the same time. If there was one event to go to this year, it seems like the World Championship was it. I'm already thinking, how can I get to the World Championship next year? Please let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. And that's all we have for today. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching TST Gaming, and until next time, just play.